So my other thing too is the people in the room. Like what possesses a person to just sit back and allow this chaos to happen?
Yeah.
Like, do you
Yeah.
think they were ever really friends, or
I mean, based on the information that you just gave me and like just how they left her and how they were able to fight with her like that in the first place, and like I can't imagine getting in a physical altercation with somebody that I am actually friends with. It's one thing to like be like, okay, I tolerate this person, right? But enough to go on a trip with them, like I couldn't imagine. And maybe that's why she didn't fight back, because she was like, I'm your friend, I'm not going to do this to you.
right?
But it's hard to say for sure, but I would say just based on normal human behavior and stuff like that, there's no way that those people were really her friends.
Couldn't have been.
Mm-mm.
Couldn't have been. I don't know how people do it, honestly, but there's so much like fakeness in the world, and you really just have to have a discerning heart when it comes to people, because I always feel like there's always something that leads up to that.
Yeah.
There's always those red flags or those subtle things about friendship or within friendships that give you clues and let you know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think just by her display of paying for everybody, that she was buying their love. You know what I'm
Yes, that's
saying?
what I was thinking.
Like there was something there about her that wanted to impress upon or show something that made
Yeah.
her pay for everybody like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like you were talking about before, like, being emotionally intelligent, like you had to have been able to, on some level within your heart, body, and mind, know that this was not the right choice for you to take these people on this trip. And I'm not blaming her, but I'm saying that maybe she missed some stuff. And then the other people that were there with her, like, I find it very hard to believe that all 5 of them were in cahoots like that. Like, all of them? I mean, all 6? Like, well, I guess 5, because the one was the aggressor. But, like, it's just dumbfounding to me.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. There'd be clues before that altercation.
Yeah. Have you ever had any like friendships where it kind of came to head, and then after you kind of started like recounting a lot of things that you probably should have paid attention to in the past?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I've never had somebody that I'm actually friends with ever try to put their hands on me. Like,
Yeah.
ever. So that to me is, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would imagine that that's not the first time that that person has put their hands on someone.
Right.
So,
And it wasn't just her, actually. There was another girl in the room, Winter somebody. Apparently she also, after Shanquella was down and in the bathroom, she came in and um somebody said that she bought, that's what they say. They said there's another video out there surfacing, but that she, kind of sealed the deal and body slammed her as well. So I'm like, this is like a deep level of hatred. Like, to me, I don't care
yeah,
what kind of antipsychotics or drugs or alcohol you're on. For you to behave that way, that's like something that's coming out of you that you already always felt on the inside. That's just like friends
absolutely.
that I've had that have, when they've gotten super, super mad, they didn't put their hands on me, but then they started telling me all the things that they disliked about me, or, cutting me out down at the bottom, cutting deeper, whatever. What is it? Below the belt, going below the
Yeah,
belt on stuff that I was like, oh, wow, I never knew you felt like that.
right. Yeah, thanks for letting me know now, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Her mom had talked to her the day before and she was talking about how happy she sounded on the phone. She didn't seem like, there was any issues or anything. So yeah, my thing is like, how did it get from that to that? And then she didn't have any clothes on. Like, why were they in there without her having like, what? I don't know. there's too much suspicion going on. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that, and this rings true for a lot of criminals that are in cahoots, once one gets caught, they start singing. So I'm hoping
Mhm.
that, everything will be revealed, and that
Yeah.
the one girl, because they've already issued a love it. Thank you.
Sorry. Predator just flew by, so they all had to alert each other.
Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout.
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
sorry. There's
okay.
some vultures flying around,
Oh,
so
some vultures. Oh,
yeah.
okay. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Sorry. Farm life.
Yeah. They damn, see the oldness. I hate it. I hate it.
It was a duck distraction.
But what do you watching something like that, does it make you fearful or at least a little worried about like having, children around that age range and for their friends and things like that? Were you a parent that watched your children's friends closely?
So I mean, yes and no. So like, it's kind of like, you're talking about using your intuition and stuff. And so, I mean, you can't protect them from everything. And so I did my best to make sure that the people that they were around were the right kind of people and just kind of went with my gut on it. You know what I mean? And I never had the kids come back and say that anything happened to them. And so I don't, obviously if something did happen, they're keeping it a secret. But I hope that the types of friendships that I did have were positive enough. They had that right kind of environment where they know that violence isn't okay. You know what I'm saying? And so they wouldn't be in a situation or be friends with somebody that is physically violent or outrageous in those types of ways to where, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, yeah, I guess the best thing I could do is just, if you want them to model some behavior, you got to model it yourself, right? So,
Right.
yeah, I don't worry about the kids in that way. I more so worry about them being taken advantage of, like how you said the girl was paying for the trip, like that kind of deception, not physical violence. I mean, financial deception you can come back from, you can make more money, but that emotional stuff and then that physical stuff, man.
Yeah. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think what do you think these I don't know if these are no, these aren't millennials. Are these Gen Z? Like in the 20s?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do you think it is that they're lacking, or what is it that what are they on? Is it all social media? Is it the way they were raised? Is it a combination? Like, I mean, because all of these kids were college educated. They all went to university together. They all, came from families that looked like mom and dads were still together, or, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, what is it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, again, the only thing I can go back to is again the behavior that was modeled to them when they were younger. So maybe things look okay from the outside, but maybe inside those walls when they were kids, there was a lot of violence and suppression, and yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for all of Gen Z because they're not all like that, but yeah, people don't care as much as they used to. That's for sure.
Yeah, people are quick to. I heard a story online about some guys that were on vacation together, and their friend died at one of the bars that they were doing a bar. What do they call
Pub
those
crawl.
again? Pub crawl. They were doing a pub crawl. Their friend ended up, I don't know if he had a heart attack or something, but he ends up dying. They took the body away. These motherfuckers went to the next bar.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
They kept the party going. So it's just like what state what are we dealing with here when people have a lack of humanity or any type of, I don't know. Oh, that's another thing. So one of the girls, the second one that I told you about,
Mm-hmm.
the same day that they left for the trip was the same day that her own sister was murdered by her own boyfriend through domestic violence. So instead of staying home, grieving with their family and helping her mom and them get through it, she took a trip to Cabo.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So that just kind of lends to the mind of where these kids are these days. Like
Yeah.
what are they thinking? Is it self over? Like what is it? Like I need to get my gratification in. Is it my way of numbing what's really going on in the world just to pretend like it just doesn't happen? I
Yeah.
don't. I'm lost for words. I don't get it. You know, my little
Yeah.
brother, he's 28, and I was like, "You Gen Z." He's like, "First of all, I was born in the 90s. I'm not like them. I may have some ways like them, but I'm not like them." You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
taking accountability, it's the lack of for me. That's what a
Yeah.
lot of these people are missing. Is just like, gosh, just take accountability for what you like. You effed up. Just take accountability for it.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just gonna keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. That's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So to me, like, so you saying that her sister, you said, had passed away the day before, like, that might have been some of the reason why she was hitting the girl in the first place. Like, she had some misplaced, like, she didn't understand how to process her emotions, and she took it out on maybe the girl said something against her dead sister or something. I don't,
Yeah.
goodness gracious. That the whole thing is just, it's just insane to me. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Some things are so mind-boggling. That's why it's reached like international news because it's like this happened, you know?
Yeah.
And I know stuff like this does happen where friends set other friends up. Like if you watch any of those Lifetime movies, it's happened over and over again. Right? The best friend likes the boyfriend or whatever. Next thing you know, the friend is dead. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? There's a lot of jealousy and envy, or that one show called I Killed My Best Friend. Have you ever seen that? I Killed My
Oh
BFF.
no.
It's on like one of those channels that does FBI files and all that.
Oh my gosh.
Um, but yeah, it's there's a lot of that going on. I'm just wanting to know, like, what are some of the signs and symptoms, because people need to know certain things to look out for. For
Yeah.
me, it's really just like gut instinct, like the situation I was telling you about before. Like in my gut is telling me this isn't the right time, this
Mhm.
isn't the right person. You know, like first of all, we have to start relying on our gut instincts. I always say that humans are the only animals that God created that don't go off of their gut instincts. Every other animal, they sense it, they flee, or they fight.
Yeah.
With us, we just ignore it like it's not there, and we just hope that things will work out. And
Yep.
that's not how it is. When you
Yep.
see that there's a demon inside of a person, you need to flee. Why are you
Mhm.
still hanging around? Like I've done tons of times and
Girl,
then
me
got
too.
stung.
Oh, that's funny. Me too. Me too. We just hope for the we're hopeful. We're hopeful creatures, like,
Is that right or wrong?
is what right or wrong?
Being hopeful
Well,
and
I
seeing
mean,
the brighter side of things.
it's a double-edged sword, cuz you got to have some hope, otherwise why are you even here, right? But on the other side of that, it's like too much hope, and like you're hoping in the wrong person or situation, and it's never gonna work out. It's meant to be a lesson that you're supposed to learn. But yeah, when things get deadly or critically injuring, like, how did we get here? Because I denied the reality that was in front of me. I did not pay attention to my gut. I didn't pay attention to that little voice that was telling me something is not right, this is not okay. But on the other side of that too, like, if you think about, if you grew up in a home where violence is normal, denying yourself for somebody else's needs is normal, it might not seem abnormal to you that these people are showing microaggressions or being passive aggressive, or just straight out being angry and violent. Like, that might be normal to you. So why would you leave that, um I don't know anything about that girl's family, their family dynamics or any of their situations. So, yeah, I mean, yes, it's good to have hope, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so, like, to me, like, there has to be at least one person in that group that's like, this isn't right and I need to say something. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know the dynamics of that. So hopefully they'll come forward and they'll, like you said, they'll sing.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. They, well, for one, they always say birds of a feather flock together, you
Hmm.
know? So a lot of times what somebody may have going on, you know, they have that in common with another person, and maybe that's the one, you know, something about them all brought them together, and they, you know, maybe they think alike. But what I'm also, I can't remember his name. He's a either a philosopher or a psychologist. He was just saying, you know, that people tend to do what everybody else does.
Hmm.
Oh, I don't know if you ever saw that one experiment where everybody's in a room and they put some smoke under the door, and a couple of people noticed it, but because nobody else was saying anything, nobody did anything. They all was
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not going to be the one to rock the boat and be like, oh my gosh, there's fire.
Uh,
Literally everybody, and it was of course just steam, but they wanted to see the reaction. But to me, that freaked me out, because that's really how it is. Like, you can see something crazy happening in front of you, but because nobody else is stepping up,
yeah.
nobody will do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Why is that?
groupthink, or yeah, groupthink, or
Hmm.
I can't remember the term. It's not groupthink. There's another one.
There's
But
another, yeah,
yeah, like you're just trying to fit in. You're like, if I say something, then that makes me the weird one, and I don't want to be wrong, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. But yeah, sometimes that stuff will get you killed for sure. Goodness gracious.
absolutely.